Hey guys, welcome to BTech. It's Basil here and this is our Motorola Moto X Play review. For anyone who doesn't know, the X Play is sandwiched in between the Moto X style, which has a Quad HD screen and higher end specs, and the Moto G 3rd generation. What you get in the X Play is a 5.5-inch Full HD display, £279 price tag, and a whopping great big battery life. I've had the phone for over a month. I've tested out hotspotting for hours, gaming for hours on it. I've also put some emulators on there to test out that 615 processor. You were really concerned about this phone. First off, you really wanted to know everything about it. You were more interested in this than either of the other two Motorola's, but you really weren't convinced that the 615 would cope with day-to-day use. Well, I'm here to tell you that it does. Literally a full month I've spent with it testing out exactly what you've suggested I do in the comment section. Anyway, be interesting to hear your thoughts once this review is over, but before I jump into the review, a huge, massive thank you to Canon. Yep, you heard right. We don't really cover Canon products because they don't make phones, but our DSLR fried earlier this week. Canon came to the rescue in a heartbeat. We actually lost all our original Moto X Play review footage, so we're re-recording it on a Canon 760D. All this footage is on the 760D. You can check out the link to the camera in the description below. Alright, back to the review, and I'm going to kick off by talking about design. If you saw my hands on with it at the launch event, you'll know I didn't really love it. I had the slightly gaudy orange color and it just wasn't beautiful. Motorola has very wisely sent me the black one to illustrate exactly, well, how different the back panels make the phone look and even feel. I know it's psychological, but the black one I have feels smaller. It looks really nice, like just classical black. You can't really go wrong with it, and it goes to show that swapping out that back panel, which is really easy, does make a big difference. It's standard Motorola styling. You've got a kind of curved back. You've also got the screen with front firing speaker below it. Up above it you've got a front camera. To the right hand side you've got the buttons, down below micro USB connector. Up at the top you've got the nano SIM eject slot. Around the back, like I said, removable back cover. You've got a standard Motorola dimple, and of course that camera, new 20-odd megapixel camera with a dual tone flash. No removable battery, but don't think that will be an issue given the sheer size of the battery under the hood. So it's a surprising win for the design, and it's another win for the screen. 5.5-inch IPS LCD screen technology at full HD resolution. Sure, that isn't the sharpest screen around, but at £270 I wouldn't expect any more. Plus, it's the same size and resolution as the iPhone 6s Plus and of course the iPhone 6 Plus. What's even better is the sheer quality of it. I did a side-by-side with a whole bunch of phones. Click through on the link on screen to jump straight through to that. What I actually found was, even amongst flagships, the Motorola Moto X Play held its own, delivering beautifully accurate whites, great colors, and decent brightness levels as well. It seems thanks to that battery, Motorola hasn't had to be shy about giving you really good amounts of brightness on the X Play. Inside that screen it's Android 5.1.1 with a few smatterings of customization from Motorola. The customizations are tapered. To recap, Android is simple enough. You've got home screens, a pull down bar and an applications tray. All these are intact on the Moto X Play and behave just like stock. Customizations come in the form of an app called Moto, and you've also got Moto Connect and Migrate as well. The specific functions of the Moto app include Smart Assist, which swaps out profiles depending on the time of day or your location. You've also got Smart Actions, so you can wrist flick to launch the camera, Voice, which is a similar voice command system to that found on the original Moto X, and Display, which phases the time and notifications on the screen when the phone is touched or if the light sensor detects a disturbance. These are welcome for the most part, only adding to the core OS at heart, and you can disable pretty much all of the application features. As for Connect and Migrate, I wish you could uninstall them completely. Connect pairs the phone to Motorola accessories, and let's face it, you may or you may not have Motorola accessories, and Migrate helps you bring content over to your Moto X Play, which you'll only really do a couple of times, and then I'd be happy with an uninstall and reinstall if I needed it from the Google Play Store. In the grand scheme of bloatware though, that is minimal, and more to the point, thanks to that full HD screen and the relatively stock UI, everything looks good and is smooth as butter 99% of the time. Pairing that brilliant screen with the abundance of streaming services available for Android Android makes a Moto X Play perfect for playing video. Even without headphones, that front-facing mono speaker is very loud. It's perfect for YouTube clips and the like. Interestingly, the speaker's below the screen, not above it, so you've got the loudspeaker below and the in-call speaker above. Many of you mentioned that you were concerned about the performance from the Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 processor. You said it isn't the best for gaming, and if you're running emulators, you may well have a point. It isn't the best, but this is a £279 phone. Playing back some ROMs using the PPSSPP app gave you more slowdown than the likes of the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, but it can handle games like Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and Breath of Fire 3, and if you're prepared to slow the frame rate down a bit, it even got on with Tekken OK. So you'll have to be ready for some trial and error. That said, if you're content with apps from the Google Play Store, you will be very well served. The screen's obviously cracking, and the most demanding Play Store app I played, which was Chaos Rings 3, and also I got Vainglory on there as well, worked a treat even after a couple of hours down the line. Suffice to say, with that being fine, 2D games obviously work great, from simple phone games like Flappy Birds right through to fighters like Guru Mark of the Wolf. Moving away from gaming and onto the camera, and the rear camera is 21 megapixels with an f2 lens. While Motorola hasn't got the greatest heritage when it comes to cameras, for a mid-ranger this one isn't too shabby at all. Kicking off with the thing I like least, the camera UI, you just tap the screen to take a picture. This means you get a lot of out of focus accidental pictures, so get used to it. Once you get past those, things do start to look up. The high-res sensor defaults to 16:9 at 16 megapixels, though you can override this and take everything up to 21 megapixels in 4:3. Either way, shots look great in good lighting. Thanks to the lens aperture being nice and low, background blur in macro shots looks great, colours have a good amount of pop and contrast looks dandy. When there's a lot of light, the whites can look a tad blown out, though in the UI's defense, a simple drag up or drag down of the exposure lets you compensate for that easily enough. Using the iPhone 6 as a comparison benchmark, detail on the Moto X Play is better and the pictures look more saturated in a good way. Low light is markedly worse though, with more noise and softer detail, though the flash on board is better, meaning you're generally off to a really good start. Shooting modes aren't overly extensive, extending to panorama and HDR. Video is recorded up to full HD from both front and rear cameras, and the rear camera does a great job in most lighting conditions, though unsurprisingly, just like with photos, gets noisy in low light. The UI lets it down thanks to no tap to focus mid-video recording, so focusing on fiddly little objects can be problematic. As far as the front camera goes, it has a weird low light bug. For photos, it's dandy in good or mediocre light. Drop the lights and just like any camera, it gets a bit noisy and there's no front flash. For video though, low light wipes it out. Hopefully Motorola will update this with a fix soon, as it's probably software based. When it comes to connections, they are plentiful on the Moto X Play. 3G, 4G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, NFC. There isn't an IR blaster, but I can get over that pretty quickly. It's also expandable, which is ace. Paired with the 16 gig onboard memory, that is fair enough. And if you're really concerned about gaming and filling up that memory pronto, you can opt for the 32 gig version. I've covered the Snapdragon 615 processor in a fair bit of detail, but I'm going to touch on it one more time because this is something that you were really concerned about in your comments. It performs well. It isn't a benchmarking champion. We've already reviewed it in the Smart Ultra 6. It's available on higher end devices and lower end devices as well, but more to the point, we're now powering a full HD display for the likes of standard gaming and for full HD video playback, as well as standard use. It can do a good job when paired with decent software, and Motorola has done just that. Stock Android experience runs smoothly enough even a full month into use. As if the Moto X Play wasn't having a smooth enough ride of it, now we're going to move on to battery, and the 3630 milliamp battery under the hood puts it in a really good stead on paper. In reality, okay, here's the thing. I'm a power user. I watch movies on my phone, hours of video, streaming video as well. I listen to music, Bluetooth headphones. I also always have a wearable connected at any given time, hotspot tethering to my PC or MacBook. All the time I'm using my phone basically. And this is one of the first phones I have ever reviewed that will last easily a full day without any sweat whatsoever. That makes me so happy. Instantly makes me very able to recommend this phone. If you aren't a power user, therefore, that suggests that you'll probably get around 2 days out of this thing, which, like I said, is pretty unheard of in today's smartphone market. And with that, it leads me on to my conclusion. The Motorola Moto X Play has no strikes against its name. It's got a good screen, decent design, good UI, performance is good, the price is good, and the battery is excellent. All the connections are on point too. So ultimately, this really just a thumbs up, very easy phone to recommend. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. Hopefully you found it was worth the wait. If you did like it, click that thumbs up button. And just one last great big thank you to Canon for sorting us out with an emergency DSLR, a 760D to film this review with. Have a great day. Micro SD and a micro SIM slot. So this is going to be expandable by 200 gigabytes, which is mightily impressive. 32 gig onboard memory. 3.5mm headphone jack. This is going to also be compatible with a set of headphones that Sony is going to be releasing, which allows for both digital noise cancellation and high resolution audio, all at the same time. Around the back, it's a new camera sensor, 23 megapixels. What's really awesome about this is that it combines a new focus system with a range of other things to make it a